Thank you for your patience there.
That's all right.
Nature calls. I apologise for that. So where we're up to, we were talking about, we just ran through the funeral structure and the ceremony structure, and now we're going to delve into some details about who's doing what and what you would really like to see in the ceremony. So, does that basic structure sound quite? Does that sound along the lines of what you were thinking?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. So, go on.
The structure being what you were telling me before about music playing, some talking from people, and then maybe a slideshow, then the hearse and then the yes, that sounds about right.
So, you mentioned that your mum really liked Rita Hayworth, is it? And
no, Judy Garland.
Judy Garland. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Was there a song in particular that she liked?
Smile was called.
Oh,
Don't ask me to sing it for you.
No, I won't.
I just remember Mum.
I tell you what,
joining in.
I've got this great program called Spotify, and we can find it really easily. So perhaps when we've finished up, we can have a listen to it.
Yeah.
So is that a song that you might like to have playing in the service? Okay, I'll just note that down. Was there any other music? And it's okay if there isn't. I'm sure it'll come to you as we're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It might. Maybe a bit of Fred and Ginger. I think she might have liked their dance numbers. You know, Fred Astaire.
Oh, yeah. Yep, okay. Well, perhaps we'll run through, we'll have a look at what opportunities there are for the music, and we'll, make a list of what options there are. Okay, so that's good. We've got some ideas. Had you thought anything about, what did you think about the eulogy?
One of her close friends would have to do it, I'd say.
Are there any, does she have any friends alive still? She was quite aged.
Yeah, probably Georgiana was a good friend of hers from her wildflower groups and things.
Yes, and your daughter was named after her. Is that right?
Yes.
So are you thinking that it's your daughter, Georgina, that's going to do the eulogy?
Yes, sorry. Yeah.
That's okay.
You know.
That's okay. We had a little chat about it on the phone. It can be a distressing time, I know. Okay, so your daughter is...
She's 40 something.
Yeah.
But is that what you were going to ask me?
Yes, sorry, yes.
How old she is.
Yes, yeah. So you've talked to her about that already, have you, or...?
She expressed a wish that she might say something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm really happy to work with her on the eulogy if she'd like some support, and at the end of today I'll leave you with a bit of a template that will help Georgina write the eulogy. But let's stay in touch on that, because I'm really happy to just have a separate meeting with Georgina if she would like that. And it might be a good idea for you as a family to have a meeting after she's written the eulogy, and just so that you're comfortable with what she's going to say. And I mean, I know that you trust her.
I do.
And she was your mum's carer, as I understand it, so that sounds like a really lovely choice. Do you think she'll be emotionally up for it on the day?
She's a strong girl. I think she'll be able to do it. Maybe she will have one of her kids stand there with her, or her husband for a bit of support.
That is a lovely idea.
Mm.
That's a lovely idea.
No one should be alone in that.
Okay, I'm just going to write that down so that I can suggest that to her if we get a chance to meet, and I'll also make some notes today and give them back to you as a bit of a reminder, because I know that there's so much going on. It's easy to forget. So once we've gone through today's ceremony outline, I'll email that to you if that's okay, or I can print it out.
No, I'm not very good.
All right, no problem. I'll print it out and drop it back to you with the final agreed program and order of events and the eulogy template, and I'll just put some notes in there to suggest and remind you that Georgina might want to get someone up to help her. Alrighty. So the one of the first things that will happen is that I'll introduce myself and welcome everyone. So when I'm doing that, I'll talk a little bit about your mum, and I'd really like to get a better sense of your mum. So perhaps maybe we could start with your mum's background. Where was she? Tell me a little bit about her growing up and what she was like as a child, and perhaps a little bit about her parents. And
yes, well,
does she have any religious kind of background, or?
She was born in 1912, I think it was, and her father was an Anglican priest.
Okay.
So, and he got quite well to do in the church scheme of things, and they had the chapel, like that old church building in Albany. She grew up in Albany.
Okay.
And so they lived in that church. Brothers and sisters she had. Her brother was Roger and her sister Jennifer. Sadly no longer with us. She was always outside, just playing, running around, pretty, just always tearing around outside.
As a kid.
Yeah,
right.
Albany was a wild sort of place, and she was friends with the Aboriginal kids there.
Wow.
That's
something in those days.
It was, because people still had their prejudices and things, but not Millie, not Mum. They were her friends, and she used to tear around with them. And
she's quite a broad-minded child. Is that how did she kind of retain that broad-minded and open?
Well, she was broad-minded. I don't think as a child she would have been thinking that she was like that. She was just the innocent being a child who didn't see any difference. But yes, she did remain broad-minded, become broad-minded in her adult life. But
I'm sorry to interrupt.
I just so many things to tell you, and I sort of forget the details sometimes. But what did you want to know again?
Just in terms of the detail, don't worry about that too much today. I can always give you a call if I need to sharpen any details. So just relax and feel comfortable in telling me what you can remember and what you can't. It's of no consequence. Getting me across the details is the least of your concerns right now. So what our aim is today is to get a bit of colour for me so that we can do her justice.
Yellow. She liked yellow.
Ah, tell me about that.
Well, you just said colour, and
Yeah.
it reminded me that her favourite colour was yellow. She wore quite a lot of it, actually.
Uh-huh.
That's because Dad, when he proposed to her, he did it with a sprig of wattle flowers.
Oh, adorable.
Up in John Forest National Park.
Ah.
I mean, she'd moved to Perth by then, as she moved up in her teenage years. But Dad proposed to her, smart man really, because she loved the outdoors. She loved plants and flowers. She was like looking for birds, and so they would take walks there, picnics. Yes. They'd have their anniversary party there every year.
Oh, do you remember you were involved with that when you were...
Well, yeah, we would just go, the whole family, a lot of the family, because everyone, they were such good people, Mum and Dad, and yes, the brothers and sisters would come and bring their kids and, you know, my cousins, and it was just a thing every year. We'd go have the picnic lunch and go for walks.
Yeah.
Out there. That was just a good way to get the family together. And yes.
So you mentioned on the phone, and this goes to your dad proposing to your mum, and I guess to some of the things that you've alluded to about your mum. But you mentioned on the phone that there'll be some VIPs, if you like, at the funeral, and that because of her contributions to botany in Western Australia, she's a lifelong member. So I just want to get that right so that in the introduction I can acknowledge those. As I understand, the Minister for Ageing,
Wyatt.
Okay, and the Minister for Environment have sent special messages for us to read.
They're naming a flower after her.
It's incredible.
They're naming a flower after her.
Isn't that incredible?
She was a lifetime membership of... as long as... I don't know how long they've been around, but she's been around longer. The Friends of Kings Park.
Amazing.
Wildflower Society of Western Australia.
Incredible.
And just for her services, you know, she would volunteer at plant sales and...
Yeah.
Oh, you know...
she was well loved.
Organise the newsletter and just always be moving, you know, talking about plants and having plant meetings and... she must have, you know, found one that was something they hadn't seen before or something. I don't know quite how these things happen, but
okay, yeah,
yeah.
So was she a botanist? But
not by the official sense of the word. She didn't get to make it to university. For one reason or the other. It's probably the depression and these sorts of things. It was a lot. Not many people went to university in her days, but she had a desire to do that. But no, but you know, she had a botanist's knowledge of plants.
You and your brother and sister went to uni, though.
Yes.
You all took that opportunity. You're very lucky in that regard.
I did some law. I did law. So Roger did engineering, and Jennifer did education.
Okay.
So I hope Mum felt that in some way.
Yeah.
Our success in that regard had. I hope we did her proud.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure she was incredibly proud of you. How could she not be? She had a very strong family connection, as I understand it. And it sounds as though you're all connected really at least once a year on their anniversary with those picnics. And there would have been a fair few of you in the end. How many grandkids? Can you remember?
Oh,
have you added that up?
I get them confused between great grandkids and grandkids, but maybe 27.
Wow.
Grandkids.
Wow. And great grandchildren as well, are you telling me?
Well, last count there was about 15 of those.
Wow. I'll follow that up with you and make sure we got the right number for the introduction, because I think that's an important part to...
The statistics, the vital statistics.
Exactly. Oh, she sounds like an incredible woman, your mum. So she was 112. She would have got a letter from the Queen. What did she think about that?
I think she was quite chuffed about it. Yeah.
Can I just touch on the religious thing, because her religious beliefs, because that goes to the ceremony that we're designing, and I really want to make sure that we're honouring the way she would wish, and indeed reflecting your wishes. So her dad was an Anglican priest. Was she a strong Anglican when she passed, or what were her beliefs? What were her spiritual beliefs?
She was Anglican to begin with, but that's probably just because she was her father's daughter.
Yeah.
But as you know, in her later life, the Anglican Church was not. She found solace and things through her interest in meditation, which led her into an interest in Buddhism.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So would you like to incorporate some of that into the ceremony, or?
I think I heard her play some of the music of like chant, and if we could put something chanting or Buddhist music in there, or a chanting or something.
You said she learnt Buddhism or she became interested in Buddhism through the meditation. And did she have a community did she join any Buddhist communities or have any connections with...
I can't quite recall. She did what she wanted to... she was troubled after my father died. She was distressed, and she was at in the home by then, and meditation was suggested as a way for peace, for her to find some peace, and she became quite good friends with the instructor. She took quite an interest in the meditation because I think it helped her quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably through her friendship with the instructor that he put her towards reading about Buddhism, and probably showed her the music.
And she's still friends with him?
Yeah.
And he'll be there, or?
I think that would be good.
Yeah.
He'll probably be there.
How would you feel about me contacting that friend to perhaps incorporate some Buddhist verses into the ceremony? What are your thoughts on that?
She would like that. To her,
okay.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Buddhism did become... she thought there was more holy places outside than inside a church building.
Yeah, right.
She felt like the world was a kind of church. Being out in nature was her place where she felt like she might be in some sort of connection with a bigger spirit or something.
Yeah. She talked a bit about that with you?
Yes.
That must have given you some comfort and solace.
I guess so.
Yeah. Well, so far we've got some really good ideas. We've got some song choices, some Buddhist chants, some Buddhist verses. So perhaps we could use some of the Buddhist verses for the readings. Is there? You mentioned earlier that you've got you'd like to do the slideshow, and have you got someone organising that for you?
Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned that you've got some strapping young lads to be the pallbearers, and I'll grab their names.
Yeah.
From
Well,
you.
there's Greg.
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah.
Nathan.
Yeah.
And Tom.
Okay. All right. So that's sorted. I'm thinking perhaps we could have the Buddhist chanting at the beginning when people arrive, perhaps, and then.
I wonder, because it's a bit more serious, and it's probably what she resonated with more in her prior to her passing. Maybe it's might be good for actually when we're lowering a coffin.
Yeah. Okay.
And the more cheery stuff, the Fred and Ginger and the Judy Garland and those sort of things might be one of those while we're showing some photos, and one when people are coming in.
What a lovely idea. Okay.
So, what do you think about that?
Well, I certainly like your idea of the smile song during the reflection, particularly if if it speaks to her character and reflects her character. I think that's a really nice way, because, I mean, we look at pictures, but it's not just pictures that invoke the person for us. And in that period, that's our chance to really be with her before we say goodbye. So that's what's really nice about including that music.
It should be happy music.
Yeah, well, it can be happy or it can be sad, but if it's the audible kind of representation of who she was, because we're building her there so that people can really be with, so you can be with her. I think at the beginning of the music at the beginning really sets the tone, and I mean, this is a life you're celebrating. It's a long and rich and fruitful life. So there's no reason why you can't have, your Fred and Ginger music there to set the tone and say, people, we're here to celebrate a life. Okay. All right. Well, let's do that. So we've got the Fred and Ginger at the beginning, the Buddhist chanting as we commit her, and then...
Do you think that's all right?
Yeah, I think it's...
not too... Yes.
I think it's solemn.
Yeah.
And that's what we want. That's
I think that would be, yeah.
Okay, so did you want the coffin lowered?
Yes, I think so. I think would be a good ritual, yes. The coffin going down into the ground.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I did send you through a couple of examples of the committal ceremonies. Have you thought about that? I've got a copy of it just here. So, was it that one or that one?
Oh,
you chose?
Do you mean a reading for the committal ceremony?
Yes, so when we're committing her body to... when we're lowering the coffin, we'll. That's the point in the ceremony when we really say our final goodbyes, and this is the ashes to ashes, dust to dust bit. So I sent you a choice. So if you just point out which one. This one or this one?
There was I think there was a Buddhist-y kind of one, or you had them sort of in different sections.
Yep. Okay, I think it was that one there.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll put that into the final program as well. That was the one that you kind of indicated was what you wanted on the phone, but I think it was this one here. Life is a journey, death is a return to earth.
Yeah.
I'll put that in the final program, and I'll write it up and we'll go through it so that we've got everything right. Today is really making sure that I'm getting the all of the ideas.
I can ring you if I think of something else.
Please do. That would, of course, any time.
I'm not very good with computers.
We can certainly make another time to meet. That's not a problem at all.
Okay.
All right. I think that we've covered everything that we need to. The other thing I talked to you on the phone about was thinking about people with mobility issues walking from the chapel to the burial site. So if you like, we can talk to the funeral directors about just letting people know that there will be a short walk.
Yes, where's the shortcut?
Yeah. Just, if people have got walkers, or they may choose to get a wheelchair for the day, because it is a bit of a walk from the chapel out to the burial site.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have it, don't worry about rain and sun, and we'll have contingencies for that, so you don't need to worry about that. Now, do you have any questions or any comments or anything that you wanted to talk about? Because I think I've got plenty of information here to go on with for a starting point. Is there anything else that you wanted to you can call me anytime.
Yes, nothing's coming to mind right now.
Okay. I'm just conscious that I've taken up a lot of your time, and we do have an hour though, so if there's anything more, I'm very happy to chat about it.
Yeah. Thank you. Flowers. What do we do about having some flowers?
Great. Thinking, have you got any ideas on flowers? You mentioned that the wattle was special to your mum.
Yes, of course. Well, we should have some, that is to say.
Well, there's a tradition that we hand out rosemary and baskets of rosemary. Perhaps we could have sprigs of wattle instead.
I think we might maybe something else, because I sort of feel like that I associate that with Mum's wedding and her marriage.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, wattle. What'll they think of next? No.
Good to see you haven't lost your sense of humour.
No, she would probably like that best. Let's go with the wattle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, you have a think about it.
So I've seen so many. Mum showed me so many flowers in my time. I'm thinking about my favourites, but actually, closest to her heart is the wattle. I think it's not about me; it's about her. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want you to make a final decision on that. I'm just writing that down to check in with you about that. So how about you just sit on that for a bit and see how you feel about it. Maybe talk to Georgina and see what she thinks.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Thank you, Alison.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time and your hospitality. And I'll give you a call in 2 or 3 days, I think. And I'll have this all finalised for you then. I'll drop in the hard copy so that you can see it. We're not too far away from each other, but I'll give you a call before I do that.
All right.
But thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.